So good evening, everybody. Today it's the day what we call Visakha Puja. Visakha is in the name of the 6th month of the in the year, according to the moon calendar. But now normally they are picking guy. It's January, February, March, and so this is go with the sun. Greek, but celebrated the Buddha according to the Buddha calendar, which is the moon calendar, and the year starting officially when the rainy season is finished. So the rainy season finished 6 months ago, and now we are actually in the middle of the month because it's the full moon, and the day starting with the empty moon. Okay, so now we're in the middle of the month called Visakha. This Visakha Puja is the child offering or celebration or auspicious day. Okay, that's simple people coming and they take the person and then also making some donations and practicing and spending some like a holiday. And what is the reason in the Buddhism? Actually, 3 occasions that this is special for the Buddha. What Buddha is the birthday of the Buddha. China, 6 months. So Buddha is the birth of. Second thing that happens is that Buddha he get enlightened the day of that. Month. Count about it. 2 months from now, the Buddha is going to turn the wisdom down after the night. On the 2 months after this, teach first time. So the second thing is the concept. First is the birth of the day. Second is the enlightenment of that. The third thing, also in the same thing, because it's a special thing, Buddha, the dying of Parinirvana. So actually today we are celebrating 3 things that happened. The time of Buddha, the birth of the Buddha, life, can you hear me? So
no, I cannot hear you, Ajahn.
ממש לא, קטוע.
Yeah. Very bits and pieces.
So what? Something with the internet, huh? Because Leo said that the internet showed that there is a good signal.
Now it's fine. If you talk slowly, it's loud and clear.
So
I'm sorry for your voice.
no, it's okay. It's okay. Just I don't know how to do it. So I have to repeat what I said now, or
No, it's okay.
I try to talk slowly and see. Okay. So normally we talk already about the death of the Buddha. This is Mahaparinirvana Sutta. The Mahaparinirvana Sutta explain about the 4 months or 3 months before the Buddha passed away, the day of the dying. So he talked about. Another thing that we talk about is a few times different details about the enlightenment of the Buddha in the Gaya. Make after we get enlightened also. This is the one sutta which is important. Sutta is Arya Pariyaya Sutta. Noble Church talking about how the Buddha get enlightened, how it was sometimes fighting power, about it, try to look for the way. But today I want to mention about the birth of the Buddha. I want to talk about the birth of the Buddha, and where we know about, many times we hear story about the birth of the Buddha. We hear many things when the birthday of the Buddha, but we hear it from different monks or whatever. But where is coming from the source? How we know what happened when the birth of the Buddha. So there is a few sources about this. One, it's what we call Tika Nikaya, the long discourse, number 14. It's called Mahapadana Sutta. It's the great discourse on the trace left behind, what the remain that stay behind, talking about the past lives of the different Buddhas. Okay, so also it mentioned about our Buddha, what happened, but this long discourse. If you want, you can see Tika Nikaya 40. Another, it's Mahavastu. Okay, Mahavastu, it's what we call great events or great story. This is also talking about lives of the other Buddhas. Also a past life of our Buddha. Is another place. Tells about birth. In Mahayana, also they mention, there is very important source. It's called Lalita Visatara. Okay, this is the meaning of it. It's a play in full, something like show, okay, like a show game or show movie. Okay, so it's called play in full, and this is also the life of Dhamma. And the last place where there is it in Majjhima Nikaya 123. It's called Acharya Putta Sutta. Incredible, amazing Sutta. This is the meaning of the meaning. Incredible and amazing Sutta. This is what we will talk about today. This Sutta to talk about. And also in the commentary of this Sutta, of the Majjhima Nikaya. Commentary comes from Buddha Gosa. Papanja Sudani, name of the commentary. So we will refer to the commentary of this Majjhima Nikaya 123. Now it's better when I talk like this, or it's still difficult to understand?
It's better. I'm missing some words, but it's still better.
Okay. So I will tell first. I will tell before we read the sutta itself. Okay, I let Martin to read the sutta, and I will explain on the sutta. I will talk about the birthday of the Buddha, and I will explain what happened, and then also we will read it. So I make sharing. Okay. See, Visakha Puja, we are referring today only to the birthday of. So our story, it's here in this place, in Nepal actually. Nepal. Right. Okay. This is in Nepal. Okay? And we are referring, our story refer to 3 cities. One city is Kapalabhittu. This is Kapalabhittu. Kapalabhittu. Okay? Another is Lumbini, like a village, and another is Devata. Lumbini is the place where Buddha he grew up. This is his parents, they live there. Lumbini is the place of the birth. And Devata is the place where Mahamaya, the mother of the Buddha, she came from there. There was cousin, okay? The father of the Buddha and the mother of the Buddha was cousin. His name was Sudodana. So Sudodana, the father of the Buddha, and Mahamaya, this is the mother, there was cousin, okay? There was actually family, and then they both kings, family of kings. Yeah? So you have Devata, you have Kapalabhittu, and you have Lumbini is in the middle. Between Kapalabhittu to Lumbini, it's about 70 kilometers. Okay? Between Kapalabhittu to Lumbini, it's about 26 to 30 kilometers. Okay? Just I mention all these things because it's related to our story. So we are talking about this area. Now I make it a little smaller, I think. Now you see Kapalabhittu, Devata, and Lumbini. Devata, I make it here in green. So this is Kapalabhittu's mother. She is born here. The father actually was the ruler here. They married, and the Lumbini part of our story there. So the Sudodana, the king, the father of the Buddha, and Mahamaya, they was married 20 years, but no baby, no get pregnant. 20 years, they didn't have children. After 20 years, in the night, full moon, you take from Visakha 10 months back. 10 months back, the Mahamaya, she's sleeping and starting to dream, have a dream. What she's dreaming? She's dreaming that 4 angels coming and taking her. Okay? This is before she get pregnant. She's sleeping and dreaming that 4 angels coming and taking her. And they take her to the lake called Anotata. This is in the Himalaya. And bathing her. Taking shower, making shower to her. And then they put the clothes on her, heavenly clothes. They dress her heavenly clothes. They put a perfume and flowers on her. And after this, the elephant coming, white elephant coming to her. And starting to surround her body 3 times. This is what she's dreaming. With the trunk, he have the lotus, white lotus. Okay? And he making 3 rounds, and after this, go into her body. This is dream like this. So she wake up. Oh, she should do something very special because a white elephant in India are very important things. Okay? She said, no, must something. She suspect, okay, something. Okay? Now, it's not, you don't think it's a Jesus, that Jesus believed they come from the God, and the son of the God come to her, okay? They make, the father and mother, they come together. It's not the, okay, it's not the come, the angels come to her. So actually, Buddha, father and mother. But this is just a dream that the mother was dreaming. And then she started to be pregnant. pregnant for 10 months. Normally, the woman sometimes giving birth 9 months, sometimes more. But for the mother of the Buddha, she carried the baby for 10 months in the bed. And then, actually, when the Buddha, he come into the mother, he was before Bodhisattva. So it means that he stay in the Tusita heaven. This is the place where all the Bodhisattva they stay. Angels go invite them, please come and come to be human being. So now there is no Buddhism. Please, you know the way, come and teach to the people, and angels and whoever teach the Dharma. So this is the reason the Buddha chose his mother. He knows this is the most suitable place. So in this moment, the Buddha, he go into the mother. Then 10 months she was pregnant. After 10 months, she wants to give birth. In the tradition, to make it easy for her, she is living in Kalpalavistu. She wants to go to stay with her mother, so her mother can take care about it. So she wants to go from Kapalavistu to Devata. That's why I told you, it's about 70 kilometers distance. So they start to go with big Pamalia, group carrier, and they go. On the way, after about 30 kilometers, 26 kilometers, they reach to Lumbini Park. Right? Now they have to complete about 40 kilometers more. They have to complete another 40 kilometers. So they decided, the mother decided, I want to stay in Lumbini Park just to spend the evening. Now she already pregnant for 10 months. Okay? Soon she's going to give birth. So they make stop break in Lumbini Park. In the evening, sometime, suddenly she cannot take it anymore, and she is standing. This is Lumbini Park. What we see in Lumbini Park here. This is this is Nepal, okay? What we see here, it's like this. She, the mother, is standing and holding the Sala tree. So inside here, there is a statue. This is the statue. One moment. Okay, I start with this. This pillar, you see this pillar? This pillar, actually the King Ashoka, it's about 200 years, 250 years after the Buddha. He was ruler of India and Nepal. So he took enlightened monk with him to show him where is the Buddha places. So the enlightened monk bring Ashoka to here, to this place, Lumbini Park. He said this is the place where it was the birthplace of the Buddha. He showed where the mother stand. The mother would stand and holding the tree. Sal tree. So Ashoka, he built the pillar, and in the pillar, he writes, here, this is the Ashoka pillar, this is the pillar. Okay? And he writes on the top, up here, he writes, this is the birthplace of the Buddha. Lower than this, he said, this is Ashoka, the king, the ruler, write it. It's scriptures. See? Lumbini pillar contains inscription starting with the Buddha, okay? Stating that this is the Buddha birthplace. It's actually Ashoka. So he write on the top, he write, this is the place of the Buddha, a birth, And lower than this, he said, this is me, Ashoka, the king, writing. So this is how we know about the places. Okay, this is Ashoka. Now another place, another things which exist in this park is the place where the mother was giving the birth. Inside this house, when you go inside this house, what you will see this. This is inside. They build also some monastery, but you see this wall, many people standing, and they stand nearby the wall. In the wall, there is like a sculpture that show that the mother of the Buddha holding the tree and giving birth. This sculpture exists. Actually, this is the sculpture that exists. This imitate, showing the same thing. And it exists here, where the woman, this man or woman standing and looking here. It exists here. And these people, they are looking down on what? On the footprint of the Buddha. So there is a footprint of Buddha here. This everything exists in this building. Okay? So what we see here, again, I come back to the picture of the park. There are this building inside of the statue, the Ashoka pillar, and one more important thing is this pool. This pool is also presenting something. So this is three things, okay? The mother standing and holding the sal tree. How the sal tree looks like, I show you this sal tree. Okay, this is the sal tree. You know, she holding it. Okay. Now, before I continue. So, what happened with the Buddha? The mother holding the sal tree and giving birth, and then Buddha get out from her body, and he immediately stand on with two legs on the ground. She's not on the ground, on lotus flowers. So here the Buddha standing on lotus. Okay. And he raised up the right hand up, the left hand down. And he declaring, he immediately start to speak. Okay, he walking 7 steps on lotus. And he declaring, I am chief of the world. Eldest am I in the world. Foremost am I in the world. There is no more coming for me, to be, okay? There is no coming to be. There is no other reincarnations. Okay? In this moment, there is a water coming with the angels. Cold and hot water, they wash the Buddha baby and also the mother. What happened after this? The mother cannot take it anymore to complete another 40 kilometers to the parents. So she's coming back home to Kapalavistu. So all this Pamalia going back to where they came from, to Kapalavistu with the baby. In this, from there, 7 days, the mother of the Buddha, Mahamaya, continued to live. She was sick. And after 7 days, she's passing. This means after 7 days of the Buddha birth, the mother died. Something like she complete her mission. She don't have any more mission. She don't gonna give another chance. And what happened with her? She became angels. After she's dying, she's going by herself to Sita heaven, to the heaven of the Bodhisattva. It means that probably she became also Bodhisattva. She will be also maybe Buddha in the future. but it's not necessary, because in Tusita there is a bodhisattva, but there is many other angels, something like another section. Okay, so it's not necessary that only bodhisattva. So after she died, and who is taking care for the baby? Buddha, her sister, the sister of Mahamaya. She was also the wife of the father of the Buddha, and she also had a son called Nanda, but she gave Nanda to the nanny to take care of, because Buddha was a prince, the first prince, supposed to be the king. So Pajupati, the sister of Mahamaya, she took care for the Buddha. She grew him up. Later on, she will be the first bhikkhuni. Okay? She will come to be the first bhikkhuni after the Buddha. She will come to join to the Sangha. She will be the first. Okay, so she took care about it. I told you that the Mahamaya, she go to be in the Tusita heaven. After Buddha get enlightened, he go to the angels and he teach his mother, Abhidhamma, 3 months. So she became Sotapan as angels. She became Sotapan, and many others, they became Sakatakami, Anagami, or whatever, they changed the Narayan. Okay, by this. This was 7 years after Buddha get enlightened. So this is some. When they came back home to Kapalabhistu, after a few days, it was one ascetic, one yogi named Asita. And Asita, he was something like taking care for the king. So he knew by himself, the angels I think told them, that there is a baby born. And he come to look for the Buddha when the Buddha was born, just a baby. And he said that this son will be Buddha. Leave home and go. But he also not happy because he himself will not live. He cannot study for him. So he cried about it. One side happy because the son will be Buddha, another side he cried because he cannot study. And after 5 days, the father of the Buddha bring many ascetic to see the future of this Buddha, this baby. So the name, give the name of Siddhartha. Siddhartha, the Buddha was Siddhartha. The meaning of the word Siddhartha is his wish will fulfill. What he wants, he will achieve. That's the name they give, Siddhartha. That's why the Buddha name was Siddhartha. And many monks was there. 8 of them, they raise up the fingers. So the father asked, what is this finger? They raise up 2 fingers. They say, either your son will be king and he will be big ruler. Or maybe your son, if he will leave the home, he will be Buddha. Because they could see 32 elements on the body. So by these 32 elements, they know either the son, if he will stay in the palace, he will be a big king. If he will leave home and will be ascetic, he will be monk, he will find enlightenment. Only one monk, one man from this ascetic, he raised up only 1 finger because he noticed the size of the curl of the hair going to the right side. He said, your son be only Buddha. He cannot stay at home because he find out about the direction. He's the only one. His name was Kundanya. Kundanya joined to the Buddha and became five students of the Buddha. So Kundanya was the most old. He knew that the Buddha is going to be Buddha. That's why he joined after when the Buddha left off. Okay, it will be 29 years after. 29 years after. So this is some story about the Buddha himself. Now maybe I will. We go down to the sutta. I don't know. You can hear me? How is now the connection? You see, we are going to talk about the birth of the Buddha according to the Middle Discourse, Majjhima Nikaya 123. Incredible and amazing. This is the name of the sutta. Okay? Acharya Buddha Dhamma Sutta. This is translated by Bhikkhu Sujato. Okay? So please, Martin, you can read for us and I will talk.
Okay. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery.
This is also in the north, okay? Also nearby the border with Nepal. Yeah, please.
Then, after the meal, on return from the alms round, several mendicants sat together in the assembly hall, and this discussion came up among them.
Some people, some monks, okay, or whatever, they're sitting and starting to chat, to talk together. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Sorry.
It's incredible, Reverends. It's amazing, the power and might of a realized one. For he is able to know the Buddhas of the past who have become completely extinguished, cut off proliferation, cut off the track, finished off the cycle, and transcended suffering. He knows the caste they were born in, and also their names, clans, conduct, teaching, wisdom, meditation, and freedom.
Okay. If you will read the Digha Nikaya 14, I told you, there is starting the story that the Buddha is telling to the people, to the monk, about the past life of other monks, other Buddhas, and also himself. Details, you go many details. It's a long story, a long sutta with many details about what the name of the father, the name of the mother, the name of the helpers of others. So you see, they actually refer to this. They're so amazed about what the Buddha was teaching there that they are talking, they impressed about it. Okay, so if you read about Digha Nikaya, the 14, then you see a lot of many details about life, how long they are living or whatever, other Buddhas. So this is something I refer to this kind of talk of the Buddha. Yeah.
When they said this, Venerable Ananda said, the realized ones are incredible, reverends, and they have incredible qualities. They're amazing, and they have amazing qualities. But this conversation amongst those mendicants was left unfinished.
Okay, there was talking about this and then they left it, okay? You see that Ananda, the assistant of the Buddha, is also there, okay? Yeah, please.
Then, in the late afternoon, the Buddha came out of the retreat, went to the assembly hall, sat down on the seat, spread out, and addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, what were you sitting talking about just now? What conversation was left unfinished?
Actually, the Buddha knew already. He can hear it from far. You don't need them to explain. But you want to trigger them to find the reason why to talk about this, why to teach them more. Okay? So that's why you're asking this question. What actually you talk about? he wants them to continue to talk about it. Okay? So the Buddha finishes meditation, sitting meditation, and then come.
So the mendicants told him what they had been talking about. The Buddha said, "Well then, Ananda, say some more about the incredible and amazing qualities of the realized one."
See, because before how we finish the talk, how they finish the talk is that after they speak, wow, Buddha is a great, the story about past life of Buddha. But then Ananda, he get involved. He say, oh, actually the Buddha is much more incredible. So now the Buddha, he put the case of Ananda. He say, if you think that the Buddha is very, very incredible, please talk about it.
Sir, I have heard and learned. This is the presence of the Buddha, mindful and aware. The being intent on awakening was reborn in the host of joyful gods. This I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Okay, this is one thing that we talked about this a little bit before. The Buddha, Ananda said that I hear the Buddha telling that the last reincarnations of the Buddha before he became a human being, he go to Sita heaven. He born into Sita heaven. This was the last reincarnation. Actually, one before this, he was a prince called Visakha. So he was a human being, king. But in the moment that Visakha died, he go to be in the Sita heaven. This is the heaven or the place where all the bodhisattvas stay. So this is what Ananda said here. I remember when you teach me and other people that when the last reincarnation that you have, you just born into Sita heaven.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha, mindful and aware. The being intent on awakening remained in the host of joyful gods. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
This is the first thing.
I just read that. I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha.
Moment. You see, the first he talked that after you die from Pesantara, you born in the Sita heaven. When you born into Sita heaven, you stay there. You didn't die from there. You stay all the way there. You remain in these words. Okay? So there is no other reincarnations before you born now to be. Please.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. For the whole of that life, the Buddha, intent on awakening, remained in the host of joyful gods. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Something like Sita heaven is the last heaven, last place where you stay and you wait till anyone will invite you to come to be Buddha now. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha, mindful and aware. The being intent on awakening passed away from the host of joyful gods and was conceived in his mother's womb. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
When the Buddha, he passed away from the heaven of the Sita heaven, this was the last reincarnation, and then he reborn as a Buddha to his mother, to the human being. This is actually the last reincarnation for him. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening passes away from the host of joyful gods, he is conceived in his mother's womb. And then in this world, with its gods, Maras and Brahmins, this population with its ascetics and Brahmins, gods and humans, an immeasurable, magnificent light appears, surpassing the glory of the gods. even in the boundless desolation of interstellar space, the utterly dark, that even the light of the moon and the sun, so mighty and powerful, makes no impression. An immeasurable, magnificent light appears, surpassing the glory of the gods. And even the sentient beings reborn there recognize each other by that light. So it seems other sentient beings have been reborn here. And this galaxy shakes and rocks and trembles. And an immeasurable, magnificent light appears in the world, surpassing the glory of the gods. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Okay, you see now we're talking about the moment that the Bodhisattva is entering to the motherhood. This moment, there is a big, big light all over the universe, the galaxy. And the galaxy is everything shaking. So it's so light is there that normally sometimes it's the space and the sentient beings, they cannot see each other because of like it's so distance. So it became darkness, okay? So far, we try to look, see blue, 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 or dark actually there. Because there is no light enough. The sun and the moon is not shining there. If you go with that, you see everything is dark. So there is no, it's not the same like here, you look at the sun is showing. Right? So he said that so bright became everything that one sentient being suddenly can see another sentient being. Oh, they're reborn. Before they cannot see them. Suddenly they can see them. So they think, so many sentient beings reborn everywhere. Yeah? But actually because of the light, something like you turn off the light and then suddenly everybody can see everybody. Okay, this is all happened on the moment when the Bodhisattva entered to the body of Mother. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening is conceived in his mother's belly, 4 gods approach to guard the 4 quarters, so that no human or non-human or anyone at all shall harm the being intent on awakening or his mother. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Who is this 4 angels? This is the 4 great king, okay? Virupake, Isanasa, okay? This is the 4 great king for the heaven of the 4 great king. They are coming, they're protecting on the moment that the Bodhisattva is the angels coming to his mother. So actually nobody can hurt the Bodhisattva to come inside the mother.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening is conceived in his mother's belly, she becomes naturally ethical. She refrains from killing living creatures, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and alcoholic drinks that cause negligence. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Immediately she became pure one, keep the 5 precepts, the mother. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening is conceived in his mother's belly, she no longer feels sexual desire for men, and she cannot be violated by a man of lustful intent. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
She don't mix with men or with the husband or nothing. She became pure totally. Not make any sense. The mother. After, in the moment that she became pregnant with the Buddha.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening is conceived in his mother's belly, she obtains the 5 kinds of sensual stimulation and amuses herself supplied and provided with them. This too, I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Actually, she's letting go, but in this moment, what happened? That all the time she have good food. When she go, maybe she heard the birds singing, or people the music or the instrument or what, so she can enjoy with this. Automatically, she saw the essence stores became so so good. So she get only good information, whatever she don't trouble with it. Huh? So think that she's smelling the pure perfume or maybe flowers or something like this, so she enjoys. So automatically she receives good information from this sense. So, but it not mean that she is attaching to this. Huh?
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening is conceived in his mother's belly, no afflictions beseech her. She's happy and free of bodily fatigue, and she sees the being intent on awakening in her womb, complete with all his various parts, not deficient in any faculty. Suppose there was a beryl gem that was naturally beautiful, 8-faceted, well worked, and it was strung with a thread of blue, yellow, red, white, or golden brown, and a person with clear eyes were to take it in their hand and examine it. This beryl gem is naturally beautiful, 8-faceted, well worked, and it's strung with a thread of blue, yellow, red, white, or golden brown. In the same way, when the being intent on awakening is conceived in his mother's belly, no afflictions beseech her. She's happy and free of bodily fatigue, and she sees the being intent on awakening in her womb, complete with all his various parts, not deficient in any faculty. This too, I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
So in the moment that she became pregnant, she don't suffer any pain, any difficulties, and okay, she's very, very light and not getting more wounded or hurting or something like this. At the same time, something like when she look at the belly, she can see the baby. She can like to the trail, things. She can look, she can see all the body of the baby.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. 7 days after the being intent on awakening is born, his mother passes away and is reborn in the host of joyful gods. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
So what I mentioned before, this is how we know all the details. Okay, also in the commentary you go more details. So we talk about this that after mama after she gives the baby the Buddha born, the mother actually finish her duty. She don't have anything to do anymore. She go to sit by herself, and probably she became Bodhisattva by herself.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. Other women carry the infant in the womb for 9 or 10 months before giving birth. Not so the mother of the being intent on awakening. She gives birth after exactly 10 months. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Also, I mentioned before about it that after 10 months, the mother gives birth.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. Other women gave birth while sitting or lying down. Not so the mother of the being intent on awakening. She only gives birth standing up. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
The mother of Buddha, she's standing and holding. By the way, all these details, what the Ananda mentioned now, it's not only for our Buddha. Any Buddha, it will be like this. This is the law. This is the rule. Okay? Let's say any Buddha in the past, in the future, the mother will give birth understanding. Any mother or any Buddha, the mother will die 7 weeks after, 7 days after she gives birth. Any mother, this is for all the Buddha. It's like a rules of Buddha. It's not only telling only about our Buddha. All the kind of Buddha is affected this kind of. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening emerges from his mother's womb, gods receive him first, then humans. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Protecting when they protect this baby born, nothing will happen to him. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening emerges from his mother's womb, before he reaches the ground, 4 gods receive him and place him before his mother, saying, "Rejoice, O Queen, an illustrious son is born to you." This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
We see them first, then we take care about them, and put them on the ground.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening emerges from his mother's womb, he emerges already clean, unsoiled by waters, mucus, blood, or any other kind of impurity, pure and clean. Suppose a jewel treasure was placed on a cloth from Kasi. The jewel would not soil the cloth, nor would the cloth soil the jewel. Why is that? Because of the cleanliness of them both. In the same way, when the being intent on awakening emerges from his mother's womb, he emerges already clean, unsoiled by, I can't read what it's saying behind this thing, sorry, by waters, mucus, blood, or any other kind of impurity, pure and clean. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
When the Buddha he's born very, very pure, very, very clean. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just looking where I am.
Here, I've learned.
Okay. I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening emerges from his mother's womb, 2 streams of water appear in the sky, one cool, one warm, for bathing the being intent on awakening and his mother. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
When you remember when I show you the temple, Mahamaya temple, Lumbini temple, then I show you the pool, and I told you this pool is also some kind of important things. So this pool is presenting the stream of water that passed the Buddha. Okay, you remember the picture from the temple there, Ashoka there. Inside it was the sculpture of the mother holding the tree, and also it was the pool of water. So the pool of water presenting this kind of thing, the 2 streams that come and wash the Buddha and the Mama. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. As soon as he is born, the being intent on awakening stands firm with his own feet on the ground. Facing north, he takes 7 strides with a white parasol held above him, surveys all quarters, and makes this dramatic proclamation. I am the foremost in the world. I am the eldest in the world. I am the first in the world. This is my last rebirth. Now there are no more future lives. This too I remember as an incredible quality of the Buddha.
Now I want to tell you something about this sentence, because the commentary say that there is symbols about all these occasions that happen. So First is standing on two legs. What does it mean? Standing on two legs, the words legs in Pali, it means pada. And you know maybe the word idipada. Idipada, it's a 4 great effort to success. The Buddha say, if I, for example, before he died, he say, before he died, he say to Ananda, if someone developed this idipada, the 4 great effort to success, he can live longer life. And it's chanda, the will to do, virya, it's the effort, chitta, it's been focusing on the object, and vimamsa, okay? So it's mean vimamsa, it's investigation, or all of them, it's a good thing that if someone develop it, he can success everything that he wants in his life. So the Buddha actually said that I developed these 4 things, idipada. Pada, I say it's like a foot. So this is simple. When the Buddha immediately stand on 2 foot, it means I developed the idipada. Second is looking to the north. The word north, it's uttara. Uttara, it means north, but it also means up, superior. I am the highest. Is also me. This is the north side. Uttara or higher, okay? Up, from the word up. He makes 7 steps. 7 steps is the 7 effect of enlightenment. He developed the 7 effects of enlightenment to go to enlightenment. Then he go with the umbrella, with the white umbrella, okay, covering. So this white is mean purity. And the umbrella, it means the liberation, enlightenment. Then another thing, the 5th thing, it's is looking for direction. It means he know everything that exists. He's looking for 4 directions. You see, this is here. 7, like, go with the person, then look for the 4 direction. And then he proclaim, he's speaking, he say, what he said is, I am the foremost in the world, I am the eldest in the world. This is actually the future explanation that is going to turn the wheels of Dhamma. Okay, turning the wheels of Dhamma. And then 7 things he say that the end he say there is no birth anymore. I don't have any future. It means I will finish it enlightened. And I'm not reborn again. And he raise up fingers. The right fingers he raise up. He know all the words up, all the angels, all the Brahmas, all the universe, okay? And then the left hand he pushed, show down. It means he know all the words down also. The hell and he goes. So this is something on the commentary explaining the symbols behind each action that he's doing in the moment at birth. Something like he already showed about his enlightenment, his knowledge in the future. Yeah.
I have learned this in the presence of the Buddha. When the being intent on awakening emerges from his mother's womb, then in this world, with its gods, Maras and Brahmas, this population with its ascetics and Brahmins, gods and humans, an immeasurable, magnificent light appears, surpassing the glory of the gods. Even in the boundless desolation of interstellar space, the utterly dark, that even the light of the moon and the sun, so mighty and powerful, make no impression. An immeasurable, magnificent light appears, surpassing the glory of the gods. And the sentient beings reborn there recognize each other by that light. So it seems other sentient beings have been reborn here. And this galaxy shakes and rocks and trembles, and an immeasurable, magnificent light appears in the world, surpassing the glory of the gods. This too I remember as an incredible and amazing quality of the Buddha.
So I told you about this light and this earthquake. It happened in, I think, about 8 cases. One cases when the Buddha just come into the stomach of his mother. The second on the birthday of the Buddha. There is another occasion when the Buddha is saying, I'm going to die. He tell Ananda, I'm going to die. And it was an earthquake. And another earthquake happened when the Buddha passed away. Okay? Another earthquake, the Buddha, I think, sure, turning the books of Dhamma, but I don't remember. But it's happened few times like this. So in our story, it's happened 2 times. One, that in the moment that the Buddha, he just go into the stomach of his mother. The second, when he just the birthday of it. Okay? This is the earthquake with include the light that we talked about before. Yeah.
Well then, Ananda, you should also remember this as an incredible and amazing quality of the realized one. It is that the realized one knows feelings as they arise, as they remain, and as they go away. He knows perceptions as they arise, as they remain, and as they go away. He knows thoughts as they arise, as they remain, and as they go away. This too you should remember as an incredible and amazing quality of the realized one.
After Ananda he finished to tell about all these things, actually the Buddha is talking here about the Dhamma itself. Everything rising, prevailing, ceasing, rising, prevailing, stop, all Sotapan can understand it. And the Buddha said to him, all the Buddhas, they're actually understanding this rising, prevailing, ceasing, rising, everything rising, even anicca. Okay, Utayapayana, rising, happening, stop, happening, stop. This all the Buddhas, they can understand the anicca element. Okay, but he don't talk about the 5 aggregates. All the 5 aggregates. He talk here about the body. Okay, which things he mentioned. Perception, okay. Feeling, okay, feeling and perception and thinking, thoughts, okay. So it's not actually that we're talking about the 5 aggregate in terms. Everything in the nature is rising, preventing. Okay? Otherwise, you have to talk about the 5 aggregate: body, feeling, memory. Yeah, please.
Sir, the Buddha knows feelings as they arise, as they remain, and as they go away. He knows perceptions as they arise, as they remain, and as they go away. He knows thoughts as they arise, as they remain, and as they go away. This too I remember as an incredible and amazing quality of the Buddha.
Just Ananda was so good memory. Just repeat everything what the Buddha is thinking about, what the Buddha, memorizing what Buddha speaks. So he repeat after the Buddha speaking. Yeah.
That's what Ananda said. And the teacher approved, satisfied. Those mendicants were happy with what Venerable Ananda said.
Buddha show you some details, how we know the details about the birthday of the Buddha. Okay? So like I say, in another places also it's mentioned some details, and also in the commentary of this places. So this the story, the birthday day of the Buddha and the source. Anyone have questions about it or anything? I will stop sharing. Anyone have any questions?
Ajahn?
Yeah.
Also, the names stay the same with each Buddha?
What do you mean
With
name?
with the families, the same name?
No, different. The name of the father different, name of mother different, name of the assistant. They all have Ananda, but they don't, the Ananda name change. They all have Sariputta and Moggallana, but they different names. They are living longer life. Most of them, the Buddha, our Buddha, 100 years, it's a short life. But before they reach to 60 something, 64,000, 84,000, that's why they can teach long life, longer time. They are also the tree, they're all like a body tree, huh? But the different kind of tree, not necessary to be body tree, different. They're all dying in Kusinara. The name of the city of dying is Kusinara. I don't remember. I think there is another things that happen in the same name. Lumbini is not mentioned that it's coming back again to the same name. Just,
but the place of death is the same name, huh?
The same name, Kusinara. Yeah. All the Buddha say all the Buddhas, they will die in Kusinara. Because Ananda say that, oh, why you die in so small place, not important place? There is so many kings, they like you to die, they can take care about you. So the Buddha said, don't think like this, don't speak like this. Kusinara was a big, big city in the past. It was great. And the Buddha was a big king in Kusinara in the past. And he said that all the Buddhas will die in Kusinara. So this is one city that we mentioned. I think should be another city which is repeating. But in the Digha Nikaya 14, there is mention about the names of them, how long they are living. They're living long. They are different on the size. Some of them, they are very tall. They are reaching some 100 something. Yeah. We have about 1 meter 70 normally people. But if they are the Buddhas, they can reach to 100 something. So they are bigger. But they all will, the reborn, or all of them will be in the land called Jambuti. Jambuti is India. Okay? They all will born in Jambuti. They don't necessarily, our Buddha is the king, prince, supposed to be king, but not all of them will be king. Some of them, they are merchant. Some of them, they are Brahmin, only people. So they're also the Buddhas, they're coming from different.
Thank you, Ajahn.
I hope that it was clear the way because of the connection. You could understand, or maybe 50% you hear. 50%.
No, after now in the beginning it was difficult, but then everything is fluid and good. Thank you.
Good. So we pay respect again to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Aham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Bhutan Bhagavantan Abhivate Sawakalo Bhagavata Dhammo Dhamma Namaskar Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaksanko. Thank you. Good night.
Da.
Sadhu.
Tada, Ajahn.
You're welcome. Thank you, Martin, for the
You're welcome.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.